What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Spiral Up podcast. Super excited to bring this little creative endeavor to everybody. It's been a long time since I've been on YouTube. Lyla and I, who's the co-host of this show, have been wanting to create something for a while, and we're super excited to do this particular show and spiral up with everybody. Also, I just want to say a quick thank you. Thank you so much for all the support over the last few months of taking an absence from YouTube. Truly appreciate you. There was so much love and support that came through while I wanted to take a little break from being a content creator, and I appreciate and love you all. All right. Now I'll introduce you to my lovely co-host, Lyla.
Hello, I'm Lyla Lush, and we created this Spiral Up podcast where we journey through the stars and the heart and the body to rise into our fullest expression. And it's been such a little creation projects that's been brewing for a while, and we're so happy to be here with you all and to share little nuggets of wisdom that wants to come through and take what resonates, leave the rest. And why we created this, we kept having these deep conversations about astrology and love and connection and communication, and we realized like this is the medicine that people need, because we all are craving these really healthy, wild, sacred relationships, and we're just not taught how. And with experiencing with Bryan, like the capacity of love that we have through the depths of our shadows and facing ourselves, like we're able to truly hold each other in these really potent and profound ways that we come back to love so quickly, and we are able to just hold space, hold our emotion, and hold love, to have these like transformational experiences with each other. And this is why we're here. So if you're ready to grow, play, evolve in these ways through spiraling up, through the sensation and soul and sacredness of who we are as human beings and the fullness of who we are, you're in the right place. So let's take a moment to drop in, and then we'll carry on forward. So placing your hand on your heart, taking a deep breath, letting out an audible sigh, letting yourself fully arrive here in this moment with us. Every breath bringing you closer to this present moment and feeling your body connected to the earth. Opening yourself up to this channel, to the wisdom that we are here to share, and just feeling yourself, your energy spiral up to God, Creator, Source, the universe, and letting yourself just open, expand, and receive. Through being here with us today, we thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts. Taking one deep breath, feeling your heart expand and open and fill with joy and bliss. Shake out anything that wants to be shaken out, any nerves, any excitement, anything. And let's go.
Wow, that was so beautiful. I really love your prayers, and anytime we drop in like that, so I'm really glad you got to share that with everybody. It's really special. Yeah, man, spiraling up. I feel like that's what we're here to do. That's part of the mission. That's part of the whole reason our soul keeps coming here, is to just keep kind of going through the dense reality of Earth and the duality and the separatism from the Creator, and to continuously keep going upward. And our consciousness keeps going upward. And obviously, like as our soul comes in and comes back, it's going up. But just throughout this conscious life, that we're in now, the amount of like upward spiral is such a beautiful thing. And it's one of those things that I think we all really need to like recognize, is that we started from somewhere. Like I remember my first relationships when I was a teenager, and just how inexperienced it is, and you just start from that ground floor, and that's with everything in life. And then you get this experience and you have these relationships, and it's funny how it is the relationships which I feel like this is like a 90% truth. We have these relationships in life, and when they end is when we make the biggest individual growth.
Mm-hmm.
Like, relationships are what catapult us into growth, and often it comes with a relationship leaving or ending in some way, however that may be. But that seems to be a common trait for so many people. That's when we get these big like glow up moments and these big spiral up moments as individuals, is through relationships. So it's such a beautiful polarity, right? And we just had that Libra new moon, which is a huge one. And we'll talk a little bit about the astrology and relating, because it's such a potent time for relationships and such a healing time. Like, it's extremely healing relationship time right now as we're all like spiraling up. But also just with our wisdom and the things that we learn and our mistakes and our failures at certain things, and how these are really what catapult us into that spiral up. And I don't know, I'm really excited to talk about all these different things and to get into it. Do you have anything you want to add to that or say?
Mm. Yes, I feel like, within Libra, which is all about community and connection and relationships, that it's a beautiful time to reflect, especially with this new moon coming and feeling this. Like, I know my biggest growth has come from some of the relationships that have been the hardest, and where I've gone to the depths of my own hell in relationships and their hell, and been like, no more. Like, I am not going back to this place. Like, I've acquired so much of my worthiness in these really dark times. And I feel like that's what's led me to you, because my previous relationship, it was all of my wounded child self, like everything. And I was just like, God, I've done so much work. Like, how am I here? Is this really what I'm reflecting right now? And through that, once I exited, I was able to zoom out and see all these areas of red flags, and where I could have done better, and where I could have grown, or like done things a little bit differently. And I was able to reflect on the relationships in its entirety, to be like, okay, like, this is what I will and will not tolerate. Like, these like feelings in my body, these contractions, these like, oh, I don't know, like, that doesn't really resonate, that doesn't really feel right. I trust myself so much more. So sometimes, you have to go to those really like chaotic relationships to be able to see more clearly through contrast of like what it is you want and do not want. And that was like the hardest relationship I've ever been in. I lost myself completely. I had no idea which way was up. I was just like so confused all the time. And like, that brought me to you. And like, our relationship is so easy and like spacious and loving and sweet, and being able to like see the contrast and see how much I've grown and how much quicker now we're able to grow together in these ways, by accepting and loving and just hearing each other, feeling each other, holding each other in these like moments where my nervous system's still holding these parts, these fears of what could happen, because based off of what's happened in the past, and those projections that can sometimes be brought into new relationships. But the space that you've held for me while my nervous system is literally like spasming and I'm like crying, and like, you're just there. And like, sometimes that just needs to be witnessed and held and loved. And then I just like rise and catapult forward in these most beautiful ways, that I'm just so grateful for you, and like seeing the mirror of who we are and how we show up in community, in connection, and in life. And I just feel so grateful for you and to be doing this together.
I feel so grateful for you. I definitely think that our relationship is it's a really good example of a spiral up in my life, because I've never related at this high of a level. And like, there's a lot of like little things that get me there, and a lot of it's like past like you said, like going into these other, past relationships, and like you're kind of at the peak of your spiral when you get into that, and then you realize how much more growth there is. And it's been really special to get that reflection from you. You're like the perfect Libra reflection. That's really like, I don't know, it's made me really proud in a lot of ways of how I have been able to hold space and support a woman, and really be that like grounding thing, because I think that's what I want the most, is to be that like support for someone. Like I feel like that's what healthy masculine energy is supposed to be, is like this really strong support for this feminine creative energy to fully like create and to express. And I think a lot of our conditioning in society really does try to suppress that feminine creative expression, which is so powerful and beautiful. So we get things like, trying to control, saying you can't do this or you can't do that, instead of just letting, a woman be free to express herself how she naturally would. There's like, well, you need to express yourself how I want you to, because I don't feel safe or secure if you're not expressing yourself in this certain way towards me only. And I can definitely thank like a past relationship for helping me relate in a different way. I've always been very monogamous, and I just started transitioning over the past couple years into more, a little bit more polyamorous. I mean, there's definitely been a couple like my last couple relationships, and it's been such a good learning experience. One, to let people be free and to express themselves and to accept love, and to not feel like love is only meant for one, but we're kind of in some ways meant to love all.
Mm.
But I think there's something about letting a woman be who they are naturally, and not telling them they have to do something for my own security. Like, it's my job to be secure. It's not your job to make me be secure. You know what I mean? It's my job to be secure, and it's my job to support that feminine creative energy. So these are like my big spiral up sort of epiphanies in relating, and how I want to relate. And I don't think, look, I'm not telling everybody that's for everybody. You know what I mean? Do what you want. Do what feels good to you. That just feels really good to me, and it feels freeing and strengthening for me as a man to know that I can hold my own space and hold the space of, creative potential and just freedom to move and express for a woman. That makes me feel really good. And I just want to thank you for being such a good reflection of how that's working in my life right now. And it makes me really happy to see you expressing yourself and trying to create so much right now, because you are like on a war path of creation, but in like the most beautiful way. And I'm so happy to see all the things that are coming down the pipeline for you. And I'm really happy that I got to be a supporting, factor in that kind of at the beginning.
Yeah. You are such like a solid tree. Like I remember I was praying for like my next person who I had to relate with would be like grounded like a tree. And like, I just realized like the more like I was like nervous to ask different things of just like, oh, even traveling or relating in different ways. And you have given me the freedom to be myself, and you truly reflect that back to me of how my love and presence like impact others. And I remember when you shared that reflection of me, I just started crying because I felt so seen and have felt so misunderstood before. And like in the ways that I connect and love and show up like in community, and every time you've given me freedom, like I come back faster, like in a way where I'm just like feeling so secure and held in our connection. And the way that you gift me that, it just like I shine brighter, like I show up like even more in these really beautiful ways. And I'm so grateful because men are rising in this way right now. And I feel like, women have been in this like, it's like a patriarchal world, and then women were suppressed, and then women went into like their hyper masculinity and like CEOs and work hard, hustle, all these ways. And now like women got like burnt out, and now we're like creating more balance in the body of like healthy masculine, healthy feminine. And now the men are like, we're suppressed emotionally with all of their emotions, and like, you know, and now men are coming more online into their feminine, which is like learning how to deal with all these emotions that they've suppressed. And like no one has, like, they haven't been taught tools for that. So when the now the masculine are kind of going into their hyper feminine era of like being really emotional and like not able to hold all of this. And
gotta find balance.
yeah, and
balance
that's when
is
they
always
come
important, right?
They're coming back. It's like we have to go to
Mhm.
those extremes to be able to find the balance of like what works for everybody. I'm curious, like, in ways of when you're being stretched, like your edges are being stretched and like your security is being tested, like what helps you remain grounded in certainty of like being able to hold all the emotions of the feminine, and like hold like and trust that like the woman just needs to like let the chaos out and like simmer down, and you don't need to like take it personally or take it like on as yours to hold all of it. But like how do you hold space in that way where it feels like secure and you're trusting like what's happening instead of trying to control it?
Good question. Um, there's definitely emotions, and there's definitely things that like come up. Human, you know, like things are going to be felt, and edges are going to be pushed a little bit. Like you said, certainty, and that's like what it comes down to is certainty that God is going to provide whatever is necessary. If the relationship is supposed to keep growing and building, then you're going to come back from whatever it is you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not always like a sexual thing, right? It's just, you know, sometimes it's attention, or you know, even being busy with work or whatever it might be, you know, like we all have stuff to do.
Yeah.
And it's easy to feel like left out, but even when emotions like come up, it's like I have to, and how I do it is I just want to like be with myself and sit and know that the creator has the next plan for me, and whatever's supposed to be in my life right now will be there. And obviously we want things to be a certain way. We have desires, and you know, desires are a beautiful thing, especially when they're in line with what the creator wants you to create. Then it's like magic. So it's just trusting that what's meant to be will be, and what's not meant to be won't be, and that it's okay no matter what. And that just comes back to like, I'm going to be good no matter what. And I have to be. And I feel like in this world we live in now, with the way just everything is shifting, so bigger than just relationships, like we have to be secure. And this is like not just for men or women, like one or the other. This is for everybody. Like we really need to find our like security right now in ourselves, and love ourselves and trust ourselves and trust our connection, because it's Pluto and Aquarius. And you know, that's the generation that we're about to live in, and it's going to be the most intense, unexpected 20 years of our life. Like there's going to be so many things from left field. We always have to remember Aquarius is like the last thing you thought of. It's like the last thing you thought would happen. And it's like, whoa, didn't like, that's why it's like alien. It's like, what is that? Why is that happening? Why is that here? And you already see it in the world. And we just have to be in our uniqueness, in our authenticity, and really trust and love ourselves and our connection, and everything's going to be what it's meant to be. I don't want to say it's going to be good or bad. It's going to be what it's meant to be for our soul's evolution. And that's the whole reason we're even here, is so our soul can continuously evolve and grow. And, you know, bad and good are just words that we use here to, I don't know, have a conversation or talk on a podcast, right? But in a long-winded response, like that's how I ground or how I just stay stable is to know that there's a much bigger plan than the one I have for myself or that I'm consciously aware of in this life, and that I'm working on not being afraid to experience whatever that is. And I have to be open to whatever that is so that it can come in. So that whatever the next step, whatever the spiral up will be, I'm welcoming in that next tier, that next.
Thank you for that. Oof, breathe that in. Breathe in that certainty. Breathe in that deeper knowing. And I'm curious when big emotions do come up and you are being like challenged, initiated, tested, like when you're in the shit, in the shadows, like, is there something that you like do or say or like bring into your life to where you can like trust that certainty? Because when everything's coming at you and like the emotions, like sometimes it can just like take you places and like loops, and like the momentum of that goes deeper and deeper down. So when you're in the shadows, like how do you trust certainty when you're like all of your wounds and all of your shit is coming to the surface of like the unknown and the mystery of life?
That just comes down to like not being afraid of uncertainty, not being afraid of, like I don't have any control over what you do or say, or what somebody else does or says, or whatever might just manifest in this reality from politicians. There's a lot of people that didn't think a bomb would get dropped on them, and a bomb got dropped on them.
Yeah.
There's just so many unexpected things, and it's just being in like acceptance that I don't know what's around the corner. I don't know what's a minute away. Instead of being really, really caught up in what the future's supposed to be, I really try my best to just be present. And a lot of, especially like right now, it's been prayers. Prayers are like something that really, when the emotions are coming up, because I've been noticing over the last month, my emotions have been like popping. Like my Aquarius moon is like, what the fuck is going on with all these feelings in my life? And it's been refreshing, and I've probably cried more in the last month than I have in a long time, and some of that's due to like loss, and some of that's due to like a stupid documentary I was watching with you this morning of just like someone who ran the PCT and broke the record, and it was like just
51 days. Wow.
Like, people doing amazing things is like, I'm just waterworks these days. Like I see people break records and like do unbelievable things, and I'm just like
so beautiful.
I want to do that. I want to do something special. I think a lot of it like has that too. It's like so happy for them, but also like, what do I need to do? But it's presence, it's prayer, and it's trust, and it's like removing fear and just being okay. Like, and fears are always going to come up, but it's like the courage to not be afraid of the fear, but to welcome it. Because there's also that part of living in this reality where when you push through fears, you grow so much, and a lot of the times you look back and you're like, yeah, it wasn't that bad. Like I used to be like terrified of roller coasters when I was a kid, and now I'll ride roller coasters for a week straight if you let me, or like heights, and now I'm gonna do a gainer off the biggest thing I can find, or go skydiving. There's just like these little fears, but then they become like, it's no big deal. So I like to kind of look at it like, no matter what comes, even if it looks scary, if I can be, courageous enough within myself to test it, at least I'm gonna know whether, because some fears are good. Like if the stove's on and I have a fear of touching it, it's a pretty valid fear. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna burn myself. and that's like just part of learning too, and being open to learning and experience. You know, you only have to touch the stove once before you're like, valid fear, not going to touch not going to touch that again. That's ridiculous. So then it's knowing, what not to touch and like actually implementing that, because it's easy with a hot stove. We all know that as adults, like, don't go touching that, but it's funny with people, because a lot of the times with relating, right, we will still touch the hot stove. There's still something there. It's like, it's not as easy as just like, ooh, that burned.
Yeah.
It's like, that burned, but I might need to get a little deeper into this, and why I'm attracting this, or why this is, important for me to see, to grow. What's the karma? What is all this? So, yeah. What, how do you feel about fear? Do you have to deal with fear a lot in your day to day, or just in life? And what's something you do to get through it?
Yes. Oh, do I have fears? So many fears. And I was a big scaredy cat for long periods of my life, like just to be seen, to put myself out there, to, I can go hike a mountain by myself or find a hot springs in the dark by myself with no service and barely any light and not feel afraid. And then in that moment, I was just like, real life and death situations, like, I'm not afraid of, but like for me to be seen or to make a mistake online or to like be judged, I was like, oh, I'm just gonna hide forever. And like that really like helped me open my perspective of just like what needs to shift and how I need to shift my relationship with fear and like what it actually means. And what it came from you, what I wanted to share a little bit earlier when you said acceptance, is like, that's like one of the things that I love about you so much, is because you've studied astrology and like you have these sessions with people in astrology, like you're able to see like what's written in the stars for them, and like whatever they're going through or the mistakes they've made, or like all these like darker parts of them, you're able to hold in so much love and compassion, because it's a part of their evolution, it's a part of their stars. And that's why knowing your chart, knowing astrology a little bit more, can help you feel like, oh, this is just a part of my path, instead of being like, why is this happening to me? And like when negative things happen, or things that impact you in a way that you're just like asking yourself, like, how is this a gift? Like, what is the medicine from this? Because the quicker that we can have our reaction, or like a reaction to something viscerally, like in our body, or like when we blurt something out that we really didn't mean to say, but it's just coming from a trauma place, like we're able to, we can quantum leap and collapse time when our reactions become shorter and shorter and shorter, and we can humble ourselves and our ego and be able to be like, oof, like, yeah, that was coming from a wounded place, and like, I apologize, like, I'm sorry, like, I want to move forward, and this is how I can do better. And that's how we create real-time healing right there in our bodies, in our relationships, and in our career, when we can stop being so hard on ourselves and like judging ourselves so much based off of like the mistake we made, or whatever happened. Because by throwing ourselves in the fire and facing these fears and making mistakes, that's how we can grow substantially and quantum leap. So when I come to like facing my own fears, or like having these like moments when all my shadows are coming up, or like I feel like this insecurity in my body of like, is he gonna leave? Are they gonna like me? Did I say something? Just like all these thoughts that keep running in my head, like I'll go into it. Like I praying and like creating these like intentional containers for prayer, and for us to feel our our expression, like what we're suppressing or what we're like, oh God, if I get angry, like who knows like how long it'll be, you know, like will I be angry for days? Will I cry for days? Like all these things. But like if I love to create like little rituals and containers to where it's like, okay, I light a candle, offer a prayer, ask my guides and angels to support me, and I will go into the feeling of the anger and like rage it through my body. Like I am big into like somatics and embodiment sessions to where I can like go into it and I'll invoke something, you know, even if I'm not like feeling like it's just there, but it's like edging and I'm kind of like suppressing it, but I'll just be like, no, like I feel this like lingering, and it's like it's not creating space for like the newness, the like the me, the becoming of me to like come in. So I'll set these containers and I'll let myself like for an hour or 2 hours just like go and roll around and scream and cry and like be in these states and like be on my knees like praying to God for like to Creator for me to like transform this. And then like I'll offer like water or roses or something to the earth as like a closing container. Like it's like, okay, I open the container, I let all the emotions, like all the things like move through my body, and like that creates space to release from my nervous system. And then when I go and like offer it to the earth, offer it as a prayer, as that like thank you for holding me in this, in these darker times. Like it feels like it, like the fullness, because we're so full spectrum. Like we are humans, we all carry so many different emotions and so many things that like we don't claim, we don't own, because we feel this guilt or this shame. And like that frequency, shame is like the lowest frequency like ever created. So like when we spiral in that, it like perpetuates. But if we go into it and like hold ourselves in it and then offer it to the earth, it's like we're closing like the container and like releasing and letting go and letting the earth and letting Creator like hold these parts of us. And then we're able to like have this exhausted, I'm sure, but then the spaciousness to rise, to be open, to receive new downloads and new directions of like where we're going and what we want to do. So, yeah, when it comes to like facing fears or leaning into fears, like I create fear challenges now because I was such a little scaredy cat. I was like, oh God, I'm so scared, like to be seen. Like my friends and I, we create fear goals now. We're like, okay, what is something that you're like, because normally everything that you desire is on the other side of fear. And like, that's when the most resistance can come up. So you're just like, okay, like if I am like intentionally creating fear goals to push my edges, to expand my edges into different parts of my being, then I'm able to like, it just becomes like a practice, and it becomes less and less like taking over your whole body where you're just like contracted and like can't move and you're in a free state. So fear goals, rituals, and like really just praying and offering to Creator to support me in this has really been like substantial to my growth. And I see it and feel it in my body after I give myself these times and these spaces and places to hold myself, and to be witnessed in that too, to ask a friend to witness you and hold you in that. That's like,
very vulnerable place
very
to be.
Vulnerable. Which is vulnerability. It's like I remember for so long I was craving like depth and relationships and intimacy and connection, but I wasn't vulnerable. Like I was too afraid to actually claim my desires and claim these darker parts of myself, to be able to let myself be truly seen and not be fake and not put on this whole thing like everything's fine, like the good girl, like I'm a good girl, like everything's fine. So I wasn't able to connect in these like deeper ways that my soul was just craving for. And now that I like let myself go there and I let myself be vulnerable, like I'm able to feel like deeper within myself and myself of who I am as a full spectrum being, and have deeper connections with you and other people that I'm relating with. So yet again, I'm just so grateful in the ways that you've held me and let me just be like, like these are all the crazy things I'm doing, because sometimes like I've dated masculines and like it's masculine and they get so overwhelmed by what I share, and like how I'm upgrading my vessel and like how I'm moving energy, and they're just like, whoa, like she's got a lot going on there, like I don't know, but I'm saying it and like sharing it in a powerful way, like I'm having breakthroughs of seeing patterns being interrupted, and like you've just like held space like no other person that I've connected with so far, and like I'm so excited for this because you have so much wisdom to share, and like just being in this conversation and like receiving these codes, like just visualize it like downloading you and like expanding you into like your new becoming of who you're meant to be and how you're supposed to love in this world, because the truth is we are just pure love, and we have to unprogram and unlearn everything that was just programmed into us to experience the orgasmic bliss and the love that we is our birthright, that we came here to do. And I'm just like so excited to talk about this with you. You're amazing.
Oh my God. I know, I love talking about it with you too. I love hearing you talk about all your fears and how you used to be such a scared little girl. Because since I've known you, I know there's always fears in the back. Like even the most confident people, like we have our fears, like everybody does. But you just show up in such a like raw and like authentic way. It's impressive to know where you came from and how you like got to that place that you're in now. It's very, very admirable, and like it's just something I respect and admire about you a lot. And yeah, it makes me really happy to just have been, supportive of you, because there are times where it's like,
Rah! Me? No way.
And,
I'm an angel.
But that's like exciting, too. It's almost like, well, might as well just, whoa. Yeah. The somatic stuff that you do too is so interesting. Like that is such a vulnerable thing. I know you've challenged me with like mirror work and stuff. And like,
yes, I do.
Oh my God. Like it is so funny how like talking to myself in the mirror is so awkward for me. It's like, why am I talking to myself in the mirror? Like, can't I just like meditate on it? Can I just like feel it internally? Like, I don't know why I like looking myself in the eye and saying things. Is like the weirdest thing for me. But
Edgy.
been practicing, very edgy. Yeah, I mean, you've done a good job of pushing, a bunch of my edges.
Oh yeah, my favorite thing to do in this
it.
life.
Yeah, you're good at it. Gosh, well, we unfortunately don't have all the time we wish we had today.
I know, I could keep going and going.
Is there any like final thoughts before we come back and hopefully are able to get, another like maybe half hour added on to the length of this conversation? But I'm loving like the intro and the vibe and the creation with you, and I love listening to you channel. It's so good and clean. And, I know that, like you said, it's been hard for you in the past to get up and talk on camera or like something on Instagram, and it's so cool to see how just in your element you are. You're such a natural, and I'm happy that we get to do this, and I'm really excited for the future. And is there any final things you'd like to say, or I could talk a little bit about this new moon?
Yeah, I think let's finish with the new moon, but I do have something to share when it comes to, the whole mirror work situation and like why it's so awkward, like when we can really look at ourselves in the eye and like not just pick ourselves apart and like be like, oh, this wrinkle, or oh, this thing, or this thing, or this thing. And it's like being with yourself and being like, okay, like I'm a miracle of God and like God creator, and to be able to speak to yourself and practice like how you want to pitch your career, how do you want to talk to your woman, like how do you want to like feel in conversation, and being able to look at yourself in those vulnerability, uncomfortable, where you're like, yeah, like, oh, you know, like you have this like crack in your voice or this like uncertainty of like insecurity. It's like when you practice and you show up in the mirror and you just like really like go over the top and like empower yourself through like looking at yourself in the mirror and like sharing these things with you. Like, oh, it's just, you see real life transformation in the way that you show up in your voice. You're not speaking from like, ugh. You're speaking from your heart. You're speaking from your cock, your pussy, like in power and feeling like these shifts. And that's such a powerful thing to practice, like a pitch phrase or like, you know, a dirty talk or like something that is like, you're like, this isn't normal for me. This feels performative. But like the more you practice it and like show up for yourself in the mirror and like let go of those judgments and being like, hey, I'm showing up, like I'm practicing, like I'm doing the fucking work, like that's when you see the growth and you see it being reflected in every area of your life. So that's why I'm such an advocate of mirror work, and we can go deeper into different embodiment practices and different things along the way that have really supported both Bryan and I in how we show up in communication, how we show up in space holding, how we show up as becoming more embodied, because we're here to be the fullest expression of ourselves and like show the fullness of what we're capable of and what our soul is here to do. And all these practices are so important in relating in embodiment to be able to do that. So we got a journey for you guys coming. Thank you for being here. And so tell us a little bit more about this new moon in Libra conjunct Jupiter Chiron, or whatever it is you want to show. Whatever it is, he knows all the stuff. I'm like, yeah, this is like a new language. Yeah, this is a lot. How am I supposed to remember all this?
Big time language. So opposite Chiron, T square to Jupiter, and there's even a wider orb square to Pluto, direct in Aquarius. Finally, like coming up on like a full year of Pluto in Aquarius. It's like a 20-year transit, big deal. I think, anytime we get a new moon, it's really about the creation. It's about the manifestation. It's about the intention. It's a spiral up. Right? We got a new moon in Libra a year ago. It's like, where are you at now? Right? So there's always these spiral ups, and every new moon is this opportunity for this spiral up. This new moon is in a vulnerable position because it's opposite Chiron. So it's like to spiral up right now in what we want out of our relationships and how we find balance and peace and like this kind of search for harmony and like positive reflection and like the aesthetic of life that we want to see, and like what this is, all these moving parts that need to come into some balancing act. It all kind of has to come through our own healing. So there's gonna, it's like all these people or places or things outside of ourselves that trigger us, and like right now it's so important to pay attention to your triggers, to pay attention to your wounds, and not to like be a victim and like play that game where you're like, oh, I'm just gonna be this wounded soul, this wounded human, but to see the wound, but to grow from it, to relate better through it. And this big square to Jupiter in Cancer is, Jupiter wants to just expand everything and kind of blow things out of proportion, but it's also, this wisdom too. It's wise and it's intuitive. So there's this, place, and it's in Cancer where it's exalted. So like our belief in ourself right now has to be so rooted and like strong and like loving towards ourselves, through healing moments, through traumas, through situations where, we feel like we're a little, like we're less than in some way, like some insecurity. Like this is a time to like look at your insecurities as your greatest gift. Like you need to like know that there's a reason, you have that, and that's because it's your gift. And until you can like see that reflection in yourself, that what you think is a shortcoming or what you think makes you wounded is actually the thing that you want to build your foundation off of. It's the thing that you want to really grow, and let's stretch out and be something in this life. And that's what's going to bring on the relationships that people really want. And that's what's going to have the long-lasting connections, because it is that part of you that you think isn't enough that is everything. And this is where the right relationship is going to come in and like see that and like love it. You know? And so this is it's an amazing time, because you're going to really see who loves you for you, like who, you know, loves you for your shortcomings, your imperfections, but it's not to them. That's just our own story. To them, it's what makes you you, and it's what they want to relate to. It's what they find unique and special and amazing. So very potent right now, I think, to put the intention out there that you're willing to accept yourself and love yourself and really root yourself in your most authentic self, and that includes the things that you think aren't the best about yourself. That's what this new moon to me really represents, and it's square Pluto, and like there's a level that like there's so much depth, and it's Pluto in Aquarius, the new moon in Libra, so you think it's a trine. It's not. It's a wide, you know, out of modality square. But it's still a thing, and you know, we finally have Venus in Libra now. So, yeah, I hope everybody does a good job relating. We do have to go.
Unfortunately.
I know, we could talk all day, and I really look forward to the next time that, you know, we have a little bit extra time, because we wanted to do this really bad, even though it was a little crunch timey, and
we're just
I'm grateful for you making the time to do it, and I look forward to all the talks we get to share in the future.
Gosh, I could listen to you channel all day. I'm so lucky.
Stop.
I get to, I'm like, oh, and what does this mean? What's going on now? Tell me about this. Like, who am I? You know, and it's just so fun. So if y'all want to book an astrology reading, he's back in action, and just wiser than ever. I just like, I'm like, wow, you're so special. Like, oh my gosh. So book your astrology reading. I'm so grateful that we got to be here, and yeah, it just feels like a beautiful conversation. So I don't feel like, at first I was like, I'm nervous, but now I'm just like, oh yes,
fired
like
up.
Let's go. Give me another hour. Let's go.
To follow Lyla, you can follow her on Instagram at Lyla_Lush. It's in the description below, and she offers some really amazing services, and she's really building, you know, her vision of her business right now. And if you want to take part in that, she does a lot, and she has a beautiful website, so look into that. Yes. If
you're ready to spiral up into deeper embodiment and self-love and liberation, like come. Just, I offer little rituals and journeys and embodiment journeys to just like rise into the person that you're here to be and to become. And I will hold all of you in that messy magic, because your mess becomes your magic. And like, once you own that and accept that, like, you are truly liberated. So
Truth.
So let's close our eyes for a moment and just close this container, putting your hands on your heart again, taking a deep breath, just feeling just a little bit more open and expansive from the wisdom, the conversation today, and giving yourself a moment of gratitude for showing up in all the ways that you do, from the micro things to the massive things, to just being here in this conversation. And yeah, just giving yourself a big old hug, knowing that you're doing the best that you can, and that there's so much here for you in this world, and you deserve and are worthy of all of it. And just keep showing up, keep sharing, give yourself permission to shine, and we will be here rooting for you all along the way. Thanks for joining us on the Spiral Up podcast. We'll be here every week for the next who knows how long, but
Who knows?
who knows?
But we love and appreciate you very much. Thanks for being here, and we look forward to growing in this with you and spiraling up.
Spiral, baby.
Peace.
Bye.